I think we got a problem, got a problem.
Let's go. Get up. Stack club, baby. You hear that? You can't sit down to that. Okay.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy, Shigluch, LOXD Block, Silverback. Hey, yo, right now I need to shout out the ISUPK classes.
I want to give a huge, big, humongous shout out to all the UPK schools.
You can't sit down to that.
Shout out to Black Watch, hosted by General Johanna. Bird, I need y'all to check out Cross the Line Radio as well, man. They've been open all week from 7 to 9. They ain't shut down because of the corona, the COVID and all that. They rocking strong, you know what I mean?
Think we got a problem, but really it ain't though. It's one of me and these bitches, I count about 3, 4. Think we got a problem, but homie just all talk. He ain't gon' pop a balloon with a pitchfork. Nah, think we got a problem in the club with this dog. Rude boys, dogs, ladies, everybody. Yo, shit, what they want?
All right. Salakia. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbarakatah to the men, to the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Atham Hashem Yahweh Shah to the sisters. All right. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of Harlem, New York since 1969. And we are commanded by the Most High God under the leadership of Commanding General Yohana to teach the so-called Black, so-called Hispanic, and so-called Native American people. All right. And this is our aim and what we are aiming for. Give me Zephaniah 2:1. We are targeting a specific group, just like Paul. When Paul said he was not ashamed of the gospel, this is what we're saying. We're not ashamed of this gospel. We're not ashamed of the fact that we are targeting so-called Black, so-called Hispanic, and so-called Native American people. Tonight's class is how to make a Negro a Christian. Like we always talk about it. We always talk about what they taught us, what the slave master taught us. But what if I was to tell you they had specific instructions on what to do? They had an actual game plan on what to do. It was well structured on what to do. And guess what? They executed it. But we are commanded by Commanding General Yohana to do this. Read.
Book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation, not desired.
No, O nations.
O nation, not desired.
O nation, not desired. We are the nation of people that's not desired. We are the nation of people that is not a people. We are the nation of people that fit the prophecies in this book. We fit a specific profile. All right. And in that profile, it shows by those attributes who are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. All right. So like I said, tonight, right, we're going to be coming out of a book called The Religious Instruction to Negroes. All right. This book was put into action by Congress in 1842. And we're going to bring out some things out of that book. But before I bring those things out of the book, I want to share something with you. Let me share this with you. All right. Now, what I'm getting ready to share with you right now is Salakia. It's not letting me. Hold on. For some reason, it's not. Okay, here we go. At this. I'm going to share two things with you. I want you to see this right here. Exactly. All right. That's our journey in America. That is a perfect video of our journey in America, right? But I want to share one more video with you before I get into the lesson. All right, hold on. Now, this right here is a very interesting video right here, because what this video is right here, this video is called the dial test. All right, and what they're doing is they're taking a dial. They're taking dials. They're taking a white dial and they're taking a black dial, and they're showing it to the children, and they're asking the children specific questions about these dials. Now, this research was actually done a long time ago, like in the fifth or look, I think Salakia, I think it's like the 60s, right? But CNN did a recent one, right? And in CNN recent one, you're going to see the same type of results. If you're not familiar with the Dow test, you really need to check this out, all right? So let me pull this up. All right, hold on. I hope I can share it. Screen. All right, share. Chrome. Share. All right, so now I want you to check this out right here, right? Very, like I said, it's very interesting, and I want you to listen very carefully. And this is going to help us throughout our studies on exactly our point on what we're trying to show.
Okay, yeah.
We asked renowned child psychologist and University of Chicago researcher Dr. Margaret Beal Spencer to design a pilot study for CNN and analyze the results.
Our children are always near us, because we're a society. And what we put out there, kids report back. You ask the question, they'll give you the answer.
Spencer's team.
Okay, yeah.
We asked renowned child psychologist and University of Chicago researcher Dr. Margaret Beal Spencer to design a pilot study for CNN and analyze the results.
Our children are always near us, because we're a society. And what we put out there, kids report back. You ask the question, they'll give you the answer.
Spencer's team tested more than 130 kids in 8 schools with very different racial and economic demographics. Half of the schools were in the north, half in the south. Oh, nicely done. While the country is much more diverse today than in the 1940s, the children in this project are from 2 age groups and 2 races, white and black, to better allow comparison to the original doll study. 4- and 5-year-old children were asked a series of questions about these images. 9- and 10-year-old children were asked questions about the same images as well as this color bar chart. The test led us to 3 major findings. First, white children as a whole responded with a high rate of what researchers call white bias, identifying the color of their own skin with positive attributes and darker skin with negative attributes.
Show me the dumb child.
Dumb child.
Okay, why is she the dumb child?
Because she has black skin.
Show me the mean child. Why is he the mean child?
Because he's brown.
Show me the bad child. Why is he the bad child?
Because he's black.
Okay. Show me the ugly child. Why is he the ugly child?
Because he's brown, black.
Show me the child who has the skin color most adults like. And show me the child who has the skin color most adults don't like. Show me the child who has the skin color most children like. Show me the child who has the skin color most children don't like. Show me the child who has the skin color most girls want. Show me the child who has the skin color most girls don't want.
The questions that got overwhelmingly white biased answers?
Show me the dumb child.
About 76% of the younger white children pointed to the 2 darkest skin tones.
Show me the mean child.
About 66% of the younger white children pointed to the 2 darkest skin tones.
Show me the child who has the skin color most children don't like.
Again, about 66% of the younger white children pointed to the 2 darkest skin tones.
Show me the bad child.
More than 59% of the older white children pointed to the 2 darkest skin tones. But some white children did have more race-neutral responses.
So could you show me the good-looking child? So what are you thinking? I know you pointed to them all, but tell me what you're thinking.
I'm thinking that I do not care if they are black, white, mixed, or any kind of race. I think that it matters who they really are.
Hey, my name's Kevin. I'm a musician and performer. I just adopted a rescue cat named Luna. I'm sharing my disability story to help others start the conversation.
All right. As you
Show
can see,
me which
the reason
color
why
looks like your skin color.
the reason why I showed that video, is because I wanted you to see that psychologically, not directly, the children are being taught racism. There really is. Now, at the end of that video, you saw an older child and she was trying to be a little bit more political correct. But this is what they're doing to our children psychologically. All right? Psychologically. They're not doing it, like I said, they're not doing it bluntly, like right in your face, except if you're in the School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We are trained to notice these things. But a lot of our people are not trained. A lot of our people are still asleep. All right? A lot of our people are still asleep and not really understanding. So tonight, right, I'm going to show you, based on their own information, their own paperwork, their own instructions, how Negroes became Christians. Now, the book that I'm going to be coming from is actually called The Religious Instruction to Negroes, right? So the Religious Instruction to Negroes is a book that, like I said, was written by a gentleman by the name of, check out his name. His name is Reverend Charles Colcock Jones. That's a hell of a name, ain't it? Colcock Jones, right? Now, in his book, right? In his book, he got some interesting things in his book, right? Let me see if I could bring it up while I'm up with it, right along with it. See if I could. Because I want to add this book, right? No, I don't want to add it like that. Let's see if I can add this book at the same time. All right, I'm not going to be able to add the book at the same time while I'm speaking, but what I am going to do is I'm going to show you. All right, now this is the name of the book right here. All right, hold on. The name of the book is called, as you can see, Religious Instruction to Negroes. You see it? Can they see that up? Now, like I said, this is a real book. And if you look, watch this. What'd that say? What'd that say, Op? Entered according to the Act of Congress in the year of 1842, right? So this is an official book. This is an official book. So the question is, in this book, what are they saying? Let me tell y'all something. They taught us everything. They taught us what's good and bad. They taught us what's right and wrong. They taught us everything that you believe, even down to your marriages. They taught you everything. Everything was designed. Everything was put in place for a specific purpose. And that purpose was to, here you go, Op. The purpose of it was to make sure that they stay on top and you stay on the bottom. All right. Now, before I have him read the commentary of what was said in this book, I want to show you something. Now, how they taught us was, and this is still up, right? They actually taught us in 3 phases. They taught us in 3 phases. The first period, right, where they taught us, it was from 1620 to the first census of 1790. And it was a period of 170 years, right? But this is what's interesting. They documented everything year by year, point by point. When they sent the missionary over, when that missionary died, they replaced them. I'm going to show you in the book. They never kept it without someone coming and giving us instructions and teaching us what's right and wrong, teaching our moral values. So when you say that nobody is teaching you, just like those kids that I showed you on that video, nobody was telling those kids that child was ugly, that child was good, that child was bad. Well, nobody doing that. But the environment, it was the environment that taught them. The environment was instructing them. Just like now, our very environment is what is teaching us. Our environment is what is forming us and shaping us. But look, They taught us to be a Christian in 3 different stages. All right. It says the first period. Can you read that up? On the screen. You can't see it? Okay. So it's saying the first period from their introduction in 1620. So what they're saying is from the moment we were brought to the United States, they started documenting our behavior. You can see it? Go ahead.
The first period, from their introduction in 1620 to the first census in 1790, a period of 170 years.
So it was 170 years, this period that they document. And read.
1. Account of the introduction of Negroes into the colonies under the government of Great Britain.
So it was. This is what this account shows in this book. All right, go ahead.
2. Estimated Negro population of the colonies at the Declaration of Independence and census of 1790.
So in 1790, they began to document it. Right? They start to get numbers. They start to get accountability. So they had instructions. You had these people that was coming out taking the census. They came out in census and they had specific instructions on what questions to ask you to find out who you are so they can put you in this count. All right. Go ahead.
3. Efforts for their religious instruction, both in Great Britain and America, year by year during this period.
Notice what it says. It says year by year. So 170 years, year by year, the effort of them giving us religious instructions was in play. It was in play. All right. When we first came to this land, we weren't Christians. And this book is very interesting because it talks about the indigenous people and how they were Israelites. I'm going to show y'all that. But this is the second period. Read the second period.
Second period, from the first census in 1790 to 1820, a period of 30 years, year by year.
Notice what they're saying, year by year. And I'm going to show you why it's saying year by year. Remember, when on the slave trade, they put insurance on us. So everything was documented. This is what Esau does. He documents everything because he's greedy. And he wants to make sure that he gets everything that he can steal. Anything that's nailed down, he want to know how many hammers it was to get that nail in and how many pulls it's going to take it out. All right, go ahead.
The third period, from 1820 to
1842.
Oh, that's a full card. To 1842, a period of 22 years, year by year.
Year by year. Notice they keep saying year by year, year by year. The reason why they're saying year by year, once again, is because this was well documented. This was well planned. This was well put out. This was not something that they just told to the slave masters and the slave masters taught us. No, they sent people specifically. They sent missionaries over to teach us what is right, what is wrong, our moral values, right? I'm gonna give you a little bit more in this introduction. Right there, circumstances which, go ahead, read that, affect.
2, circumstances which affect their moral and religious condition.
Right, go ahead.
1, the circumstances of the slave population. 1, the Negro in his childhood.
The Negro in his childhood. So remember, they're watching everything. The children were key, though. The children were key. And I'm going to share that with you later. Go ahead.
Family government.
Go ahead, keep rolling.
Religious instruction, private and public.
So religious instructions, private, right? Look, they're saying private and public. Go ahead.
Access to the scriptures.
Access to the scriptures. Remember, they created a slave Bible. They created a slave Bible and gave it to us, right? Go ahead.
Association.
Go ahead.
Clothing.
Come on.
General mode of living. the Negro and adult.
Come on.
Family, religious instruction, access to scriptures, marriage, and government.
Marriage and government is a big one, because according to the book, they had to bring that population growth down. All right, they had to bring that population growth down. We were popping them out. We was popping them out, and they understood exactly what the scriptures taught at the time of Egypt, that if it become too many of them, they can join in with our enemy and overtake us. All right. All right. So now I'm about to go ahead and get into a little bit of this. Right. We'll go down to an actual page in the book, but I want to share something with you real quick. Understand, when we as so-called Black, so-called Hispanic, and so-called Native American people began to study the scriptures, and we began to read and get our own understanding and our own growth in knowledge and wisdom and understanding, we come across some things that can actually make us come out of the gospel, make us actually turn away from this Bible. The number one thing that people start to run across first is, like I said, they start to understand that the letter J was invented. So when they find out the letter J is invented, instead of staying in and hanging in there and trying to see exactly what does that mean, the letter J was invented, was the man Yahushua Mashiach, was he invented, or was just the letter J invented? Some people, once they find out that the letter J is invented, they leave. They turn to Islam, or they turn to Kemetic teaching, or they turn to atheists when they find out the letter J was invented. But the letter J invented doesn't mean that Yahushua Mashiach is not real. And that's one of the things that actually causes us to turn away from the truth. Another thing, the word Christian. We call ourselves Christians. Let me get the first place that was mentioned. That was Acts 13. The word Christian was first mentioned, and it is in the Bible. People say, well, it's in the Bible. I'm going to show you what it's saying, right? The word Christian is in Acts chapter, where's it? They were first called Christians. Where's that at? That's in Acts 11 and 26. Acts 11 and 26. Why I get this page up? I want to get this specific page up, because I definitely want them to see this. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
The book of Acts, chapter 11, verse 26.
Go ahead.
And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch.
Now, why were they called Christians first in Antioch? Do anybody know? Why were they called first Christians in Antioch? Go ahead. Okay, were there Christians before this? Before the birth of Yahushua, was there Christians? Was there a such thing as Christians?
I would say not the word.
Okay, so the word Christian has a Greek origin. It's Greek, so it has a Greek origin. It has a Greek origin. The first time, hold on, somebody look that up. Followers of Serapis, Serapis. Pull that up. What were the followers of Serapis called? Serapis. And anybody at home, you can look it up too. This is going to trip you out, but watch this. I wish I could pull it up. You on your computer, you can pull it up if you want. The followers of Serapis. Am I saying that right? Serapis. What does it say? I'm gonna pull it up too. What did it say? Go ahead. Serapis.
The worship of therapists here are called Christians.
What were they called?
Christians.
What were they called?
Christians.
They were called Christians. They were called Christians. Anybody can look it up. Anybody can look it up. So this is why in the book of Acts, right? The word Christian means what? Anointed. It comes from the word anointed one. So what happened was when the Greeks, when Ptolemy, which is one of the four heads that came out from Alexander the Great, he conquered Egypt. When he conquered Egypt, he took their mythology and they took a god from Egypt and brought it together and created Serapis. And when they created Serapis, Serapis was the anointed, right? And the people that followed him, followed this false fake god, was called what? Christians. They were called Christians because it was a Greek word and it just means anointed. So when you get to the book of Acts 11 and 26 in Antioch, what language did they speak in Antioch? What language did they speak in Antioch? Greek. So if they spoke Greek in Antioch, they're going to use this word to affiliate the followers of Christ, the followers of the anointed one of Israel. So these are the type of things that are cause someone to leave this constitutional book, our history book, these things. So I want to bring these things out so that when you do run across these, don't stumble, don't fall, just keep going strong, because only thing it is this is a Greek word. So this is why they were first called Christians in Antioch. It don't say they were first called Christians in Judah. It don't say they were first called Christians in Samaria. It doesn't say they were first called Christians in Jerusalem. It says they were first called Christians in Antioch because they spoke Greek in Antioch. And when they spoke of the disciples, when they spoke of anyone that was following the Mashiach, they was referred to as Christians. This is why I really don't subscribe to the word Christian too much. This is why I actually withdraw from it. I do use it so that I can identify to the listeners who I'm talking about, but this is the reason why we don't subscribe to it. It's because it's a Greek word and it has a Greek origin. And if you check that Greek origin, it'll take you back to Serapis. All right. So they were first called Christians. All right. So what I did was I pulled up this page. This is page 5, right? And what I wanted to show you was in here how detailed they were. They're very detailed. Notice, read that right there at the bottom. This is the total of Negroes in the North America. Go ahead.
The total number?
No, you can read the total number, then you can read making a total.
It says total 502,132, making a total in round numbers of 500,000 Negroes who had, in the course of 156 years, from 1620 to 1776, accumulated on our shores by importation and natural increase.
All right, so it's a natural increase. So we actually increased over time. You can see Delaware. You see Delaware right there. See that right there? Yeah, you got Delaware. All right, so now Let me get some meat, some potatoes on this joint, right? I was reading this book and I just really couldn't put it down. And every time I read it, something just jumped out at me. Every time I read it, every time. It wasn't a time that I didn't read it, that something just didn't just hit me. But watch this right here. Start right there at the top in June 1702.
In June 1702, the Reverend Samuel Thomas, the first missionary.
The what?
The first missionary.
The first missionary. Remember, I told you, they actually took their time and they noted everything that they did. They wrote down everything that they did. They were sending letters back and forth to Britain, telling them what they were doing, and they were sending instructions back. This was big business, because remember, I just showed you this book was co-signed by Congress and used by Congress in 1842. We came up, quote unquote, physically came off the plantations like 20 years later. So they had to shape our minds. They had to make sure that we are made to be just like them before we came off this plantation. Go ahead.
The first missionary was sent to the colony of South Carolina. The society designed he should attempt the conversion of the Yamasee Indian.
Right.
But the governor, Sir Nathaniel Johnson, appointed him to the care of the people, settled on the 3 branches of Cooper River, making Goose Creek his residence.
All right, now go down to the second paragraph. Watch this. Matter of fact, read at the end right there. He says he died what?
He died in October 1706.
So he died. The first missionary died in 1706. Read.
Dr. LeJoule succeeded him in 1706.
Look, right after he died, they sent another one. They sent another one right over. All right. And you see this pattern. I'm not going to read all of it. And I'm not going to have to read all of it, but you can see this pattern over and over and over. All right. Remember, it said it was given to us in 3 stages, 3 periods, year by year. So if a missionary died, they replaced them immediately. They replaced them immediately every time, because they were teaching us morals. They was teaching us right and wrong. They was teaching us good and bad. They was actually even really giving us their precepts for understanding. Everything that we learned, everything that we know, they taught us. All right. So this was given to us year by year. I'm going to shoot down because I want to get into some scripture, but I want to shoot down to page 23. All right. I got to bear with me on this. All right. Hold on, let me see something. Okay, yeah, that's it. Page 23. I want you to read right down here I want you to start right there where it says in the next place. Go ahead. See it? Right at the bottom. It's the last sentence.
Oh, fine.
Go ahead.
In the next place, let me beseech you to consider them not barely as slaves and upon the same level with laboring beasts, but as men slaves and women slaves, who have the same frame and faculties with yourselves.
All right, stop right there. So this is how they got to the slave masters. All right. They told the slave masters, listen, we got to start looking at them more than just being a slave. We have to look at them as being men slave and women slave. You understand that? They had to actually teach them that they got to look at us as men and women. Because prior to that, we were just laboring beasts. We were just cattle. So their mind had to be shaped to have some form of consideration so that they can begin to teach us. All right. So that's the first instructions that they gave to the actual slave owners. All right. Now watch this. Now I want to go to we're going to go to page 27. All right. Hold on. That joint is pretty tough though. That's a tough joint to read right there. All right. All right, we're going to start right there where it says, right there where the line is, the religion of these people. Go ahead.
The religion of these people, as is natural to suppose, takes after that of their master.
Read that again.
The religion of these people.
The religion of these people. That means your Christianity. Go ahead.
As is natural to suppose.
As it's naturally supposed to be. This, what he's getting ready to say, this is what supposed to be. This what's supposed to happen. This is how it should be. Go ahead.
Takes after that of their masters.
Takes after their masters. That's what it's saying. It's saying, listen, your religious instructions, it's got to take after your master. Whatever master say, that's what it has to be. Because a foundation has to be laid. A foundation has to be laid. And in order for a foundation to be laid, certain things have to be put in place. Let me sidebar and go to the scriptures for a minute. Go to the book of Corinthians. I'll show you how important it is when you talk about foundation. We're going to go to Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 3. And we're going to start at verse 10. Salakia, start at verse 9. Give him the microphone out. So what it just said was the religion of these people, talking about the slaves, right? As is natural to suppose that after Salakia, the religion of these people, as is natural to suppose, takes after their masters. Because, like I said, a foundation has to be laid. Now, watch this. Listen to what the scripture says about a foundation. Start at verse 9.
Book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 9.
Go ahead.
For we are laborers together with God.
So we're working together with the Most High, right? Go ahead.
Ye are God's husbandry. Sorry.
Go ahead.
We are God building.
So we're the temple. We make up the body. We make up the body of the Most High power. Go ahead.
Verse 10. According to the grace of God, which is given unto me.
So this is what Paul is saying. According to the grace that was given to him, the wisdom and knowledge that was given to him, the understanding that was given to him, his apostleship given to him. Go ahead.
As a wise
master
builder.
So he says, as a wise master builder. Go ahead.
I have laid the foundation.
So he's saying, I laid this foundation. Paul is the one that wrote these epistles by the spirit of Yahweh Shah Mashiach. So he's saying, I laid this foundation. Go ahead.
And another buildeth
thereon. So another comes and build thereon. Go ahead.
But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon.
So take heed on how you build on that foundation that the wise master builder built. Take heed to that. Be wise in that. Follow these laws, these statutes, and these commandments when you're building on that. Go ahead.
Verse 11. For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid with Yahweh Shah.
All right, so he's saying, for other foundations can no man lay than that is laid. So you can't take a foundation and put it on top of another foundation. All right? You can't do that. You only have one foundation to a building. So when it talks about here that you're going to take after your master, this was a foundation that was laid. And in order to get out of that foundation and get away from Christianity, you got to tear down the foundation. You got to tear it down. All right, let's go back to what we was reading. Go ahead. Read that again.
The religion of these people, as is natural to suppose, takes after that of their masters.
So every Christian that you know, this foundation was laid on them that they take after who?
Take after that of their masters.
Go ahead. Some few.
Some few are baptized.
This is where this water baptism come from. This act of being baptized. And you see it all up in here. You see John's baptism all up in here. And we know that water baptism does not save nobody. But this is a really big thing that they were doing. Go ahead.
Several frequent the different assemblies, and for the greater part, none at all.
All right. So now let's go down to, we're going to go and check out. We're going to go to page 35. Salakia, y'all got to work with me on this. All right, that's 33. Here's 35. All right, I think I got some information here. All right, start right there where it says in the letter addressed to his friends and members of. Now, remember, I told you they were sending letters back and forth. All right, they were sending letters back and forth. Now, this letter was actually sent over in London by a missionary in 1753. Go ahead, read that right there at the bottom in the letter.
In a letter addressed to a friend and member of the, quote, Society in London for Promoting Christian Knowledge Among the Poor, unquote, in the year 1755, he thus expresses himself, quote, the poor neglected Negroes who are so far from having money to purchase books that they themselves are the property of others, who were originally African savages and never heard of the name of Jesus or his gospel until they arrived at the land of their slavery in America.
So listen what it says. It says they never even heard of the name Jesus. You know why they never heard of the name Jesus, don't you? Because prior to the transatlantic slave trade, the name Jesus didn't exist.
Right.
If you look at the 1611, there is no Jesus in there. So they never heard of it. And they're right. We never heard of this. We never heard of this gospel of equal opportunity. Everybody is equal and is universal. We never heard of this before. This is new to us. All right. Within this book, right? What they're saying is when they introduced this to us and they start teaching us our morals, you have to understand they was raping us. They was raping men and women. And they were selling the children. They were selling the women. They were selling the men. They was doing things that was horrible. They was sex trafficking. That's what they were doing. They were sex trafficking. So you got to understand the slave master was the ones that was teaching us the gospel. So in order to teach us this, something had to take place to change it. Something had to take place to change it to make us want to follow after them. But guess what? I'm going to tell you something. We didn't want to follow. So they went after the children. That's why we read earlier the childhood of the Negroes. Because going after the children was very important. Very important. You know how it says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Well, guess what? You couldn't teach us that because we didn't want to hear it. The parents didn't want to hear it. Now, some did. Some did, but a lot didn't. All right? So it says we never even heard of that name. And it's true. We never heard of that. This is all new to us. This was all a new beginning. Now, in the commentary, right? Let me get that real quick. Let me get that out. Let me get that. In this book right here, let me get that book. Let me get that book. In this book right here, in this book, It says how to make a Negro a Christian. All right. Now, what they did was in this book, this book right here is talking about this book. It's talking about the religious instruction to Negroes, right? And it says, this theology and the ethics driven from its function to sustain white domination by other groups and black subordinates, right? By means of introducing blacks to believe in the following, what appears to be divine, objective, race neutral, saying, proverbs, ethics, rules, and moral preaching. However, examination of this showed that it was actually, like we showed that video earlier, it was indirectly showing and teaching that we were under them. Think about it. They gave us an image of them. They made the king, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, they made him into them.
Right.
So that psychologically began to give them a higher position over us than it should have been. Because remember, we're the Israelites. Salakia, let me move that real quick. And I'm gonna bring that back up, but I just want to get into some scriptures a little bit, right? Now, what I want you to read up, I want you to read right here. Read right here on page 5, right there. Like, when they say they taught us everything, they taught us everything. No, let Mataziala read that. Let Mataziala, I need you to read that out. Go ahead, read. Start right there.
Page 5, the Christian theology.
Yep, Khan.
Christian theology and ethics, especially in the form of good, evil, or good and bad, percepts and behavior.
All right, so look what it's saying. Through Christian theology, it began to teach us what's good and what's bad. And it also given us precepts. All right, go ahead.
Constitutes the principal form of white and other groups' domination of blacks.
Domination of blacks. This is how it was shaped and formed in this book. Go ahead.
The acceptance by Africans of white valuations and definitions of good versus evil, good versus bad attitudes and behaviors, and the African acceptance of white valuations and definitions of good and evil,
go ahead,
good and bad as objective, divinely inspired, universal, and race neutral, allows them to be duped and dominated by white simply through the media of ideas.
Simply through the media of ideas. This is what we see when I showed the video about the dolls. When we showed the video about the dolls, this was merely just through ideas. This was through the media of ideas. All right. We wasn't watching TV. We wasn't reading no books, but it was just through the ideas, just phrases that was said, things that was done. Go ahead.
The uncritical acceptance of such non-African religious precepts as universal, as applying with equal effect across all groups and individuals, without regard to socio-historical context or situation, without asking, good for what? Good for whom? Evil for whom? Good from whose perspective?
Exactly. So that's very important. You can stop right there. That's very important. All of those things. What's good? What's bad? From whose perspective is these things universal? All right. This universal thing, it wasn't no universal. It ain't no universal thing in the Bible. It's not universal. Give me Deuteronomy 7:6. Give me Deuteronomy 7:6, and also give me 1 Maccabee. This ain't it ain't nothing like that. All right. The Bible is specifically against that. It's not no universal. We're not all equal. We're not partners here. This is what the Most High Power has to say about the matter when it's dealing with the Israelites. Read.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6.
Come on.
For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all the people that are upon the face of the earth.
Above all people that are on the first face of the earth. Give me First Maccabee 1:26. You have to understand the damage that they did to us, the damage that they did to our women, the damage that they did to our youth, the damage that they did to our men. The damage was devastating. The religious instruction to Negroes, we were given specific instructions on what is good, what is bad, what is right, and what is wrong from their perspective. Now, in the book of Maccabee, right, we read about Alexander the Greek and how when he came and he conquered all the dark nations, right? And when he conquered all the dark nations, they began to flood the cities. And when they began to flood the cities, they began to do exactly what we're talking about right now. They began to change the way we see things, change the way our opinion, change our precept. And they even went to the point of doing this. Give me First Maccabee 1:26.
Now, book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 26.
Come on.
So that the princes and elders mourned.
So our princes and our elders was mourning during this conquest. During them invading and taking the land and taking Egypt and taking everything, this was the state that our elders were in, all right, and our rulers were in. Go ahead.
The virgins and young men were made feeble.
They were made feeble. Go ahead.
And the beauty of women was changed.
Read it again.
And the beauty of women was changed.
And the beauty of women was changed. How was the beauty of women changed? Was the beauty of women changed because they taught it to us? Yes. How did they teach it to us? By visual. By the very idea of seeing it. Listen, we wasn't wearing no blonde hair. Blonde hair, we wasn't into that. Blonde hair is yellow hair. All right. What we focused on was our hair being clean, right? So let's go to Leviticus 13. They changed the beauty of our women. Just like right now today, the beauty of our women is changed. Woolly hair is not in. We're going to go to Leviticus 13. We're going to start at verse 29. Woolly hair ain't in. Woolly hair ain't in. Getting a perm and stretching your hair, making it long and stringy and thin, not thick like wool, that's not it. Making it straight, that's in. Burning your hair, that's in. Right now, I need my hair to be done. My hairdresser been hiding from me. I'm trying to get her, so y'all gotta excuse my hair. But the point is, it said the beauty of our women had changed. What our women thought to be beautiful changed. What our men thought to be beautiful changed. Blonde hair right now to this day is the number one thing on what women love to do. They love to change the color of their hair and make it blonde. Well, listen to what the scriptures have to say on the matter of blonde hair. Start at Leviticus 13 and 29. Read.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 13, verse 28. If a man or a woman have a plague upon the head or the beard.
So if they got a plague upon the hair or the beard. Go ahead.
Then the priest shall see the plague.
So the priest will see it and notice it, and he will have to make a judgment on it. Go ahead.
And behold, if it be in slight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair.
What color?
Yellow thin hair.
Yellow thin hair. Blonde hair is yellow. That's what it is. It's gold, it's yellow. It's yellow hair. So he said, and there be in it a yellow thin hair. Read.
Then the priest shall pronounce him unclean.
The priest shall what?
Pronounce him unclean.
This was unclean to us. Blonde hair is unclean to us. Go ahead.
It is a dry skull, even a leprosy upon the head or beard.
Go ahead.
And if the priest look on the plague and of the skull, and behold, it be not in sight deeper than the skin.
Go ahead.
And that there is no black hair in it, the priest shall shut up him that has the plague of the skull 7 days.
So he's saying if you don't see no black hair, if you don't see, look, if you're looking at the hair, if the priest look at the hair and the priest see blonde hair, that would be unclean. That would be unclean. And if they don't see any black hair, they got to shut them up for 7 days, right? Read.
Verse 32. And in the 7 days the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the cause spread not, and there be not in yellow hair, and the scalp be not in sight deeper than the skin, he shall be shaved. But if the scalp shall not be shaved, the priest shall shut up him that has the skull 7 more days. 7 more days.
So they're looking for that black hair. Read.
And in the 7 days the priest shall look on the skull, and behold, if the skull do not spread in the skin, nor be in sight deeper than the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean.
Go ahead.
And he shall wash his clothes and be clean.
So this is how bad it is to have blonde hair. To have blonde hair, listen, let me explain something to you. When you put a perm in your hair, it changes the structure of your hair. Your hair has something called polypeptide bonds, right? And they're like corals. They're like corals. They're like corkscrews. And that's what makes your hair curly. And when you put a perm in it, it breaks that. It destroys that. It actually kills it. And it makes the hair straight and thin. And then when you make your hair blonde, you're actually stripping the melanin out. You're actually stripping the pigment out your hair when you do that. So when it says that the beauty of our women was changed, that's true. Just like today, the beauty of our women is changed. Just like in that video I showed earlier. In that video that we showed earlier, those children, their mind was being shaped by mere ideas around them. Watching TV, listening to radio, looking at their friends, looking at culture, just looking at things around them. This is the environment that we're in. I showed that other video on how we're behind in the race. We're behind in the race. All right? And there's only one way to fix it. We have to gather ourselves together, old nation, not desire. This is the only way this can be fixed. The only way.
That's right.
All right? Is no other way to do it. And under Commander General Yohana, in the School of Universal Practical Knowledge, that's our journey. All right? That's where we at with it. All right? Now, you must understand, give me Deuteronomy 28 and 40. Deuteronomy 28 and 45. We have to be born again. You have to be born again in order to actually see what we're talking about, all right? Because you must understand you're not exempt from this. You're not exempt from what he's getting ready to read. Give it to me. Deuteronomy 28 and 45.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 45.
Come on.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee.
All these curses shall come upon thee. All of these curses. Go ahead.
And shall pursue thee.
Come on.
And overtake thee.
Come on.
Until thou be destroyed.
Until thou be destroyed. This happened to you. This happened to you. Why am I bringing this out? It's because you can't just pick up the Bible and read it and say that you have an understanding of it. You have to understand that you have been what? Destroyed. You have been destroyed. You're not exempt from this. You know why you're not exempt from this? Because the religious instructions of Negroes, your slave masters, taught your great-great-great-grandparents. And your great-great-great-grandparents taught the parents after them, the children after them, and then they taught the children after them, and then they taught the children after them, and now you're here. And guess what? Your parents is repeating that same cycle that we read about your slave master. Your religion can't be no different from your slave master. Christianity, we did not know about it or anything, never heard of the name Jesus. You heard what they said until we landed on these shores. And once we landed on these shores, we was completely destroyed. Read.
Because thou hearkened not unto the voice of Yahweh thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee.
This is why we're destroyed. We're destroyed because we do not follow those commandments. Why? Because Christianity teaches us we don't have to. Because according to the religious instruction of Negroes, it's equal. We're all equal. It's universal. Salvation is for everybody. They changed the definition of salvation.
Right.
Salvation is being saved from your enemies, but they just said salvation is being saved from your sins. So now they make it universal and everybody can be saved. No, according to the Bible, salvation is only for the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Amen.
All right, read.
Verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thee see forever.
No, for just the Old Testament.
Forever.
For just the New Testament.
Forever.
For how long?
Forever.
Forever. So you are destroyed. You are destroyed. You are destroyed. Now, one of the things I'm going to tackle right now is this marriage thing. Like it says that they went after our marriages. And in the book, right, it says that they had to teach us about, so they taught us what marriage was. When the Bible is clear on what marriage is, you're married once you lay with a woman. That's your wife. That is your wife. All right. But one of the things we're going to look at right now is Matthew 19. Salakia. Give me Matthew 19 and Matthew 25. I think that's 25. Salakia, can you first read Matthew 25?
Book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 25.
Come on.
When his disciples heard.
No, Matthew chapter 25. Verse 1.
Book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 1. When shall the kingdom of heaven be alike unto that bank?
Yeah, that's right. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be like unto 10 virgins, which took their lamp and went forth to meet their bridegroom. The book is completely against this. Just like America is completely against this. This right here is saying this is like the kingdom of heaven. Read it again.
Verse 25.
Come on.
Chapter 25.
Let's get it.
Then shall the kingdom of heaven be on until 10 virgins, which took their lamp and went forth to meet the bridegroom.
So the kingdom of heaven is like a man having 10 virgins. Right now, that has been changed in this country. Because right now, this right here, the kingdom of heaven is like a 10 virgins being with their bridegroom. That right there is a sin in the eyes of America. In the eyes of America, in the eyes of this land right here, this right here is a no-no. This right here is a horrible thing. This is a horrible thing. And check this out. When you stopping a man and you're holding back that man because that man's desire that is to have more than one wife, you're holding back the kingdom of heaven. Read that again.
Yeah, right. John 25, verse 1.
Read it again.
Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins which took their lamp and went forth to meet the bridegroom.
Meet the bridegroom. I just wanted that one verse because I want to bring that out, the fact that it is like the kingdom of heaven. You don't want me to be like the kingdom of heaven. You don't want me to have that. That's what you tell your husband when you bicker and fight over this, when you get upset over this. All right. Now, Rome and America is hand in hand in the same. Yeah, I'm going after it. I'm going there. Go to Matthew 19. Go hand in hand, and we're gonna break this thing down and show you that this right here is lawful in the eyes of the Most High Power, and in this land is not lawful because it's changed. The beauty of women has changed. The marriage of governments have changed. Religious instructions have been given to you, and now that is your foundation, and that's what you drive by. That's what you go by. Matthew 19, let's get it. Go. Read. Start at verse 1.
Book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 1.
Come on.
And it came to pass that when Jesus had finished these saying, he departed from Galilee and came unto the coast of Judea.
Come on.
And beyond Jordan. And a great multitude followed him, and he healed them there.
Come on.
And the Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put his wife away for every cause?
So they're asking, is it law? They're tempting him. So they're asking him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for any cause? For anything? Why is they asking that? Because in Rome, you could put away your wife for anything. In America, you could put away your wife for anything. This was structured and designed. This is a foundation that was laid all the way back in that book, Religious Instruction to Negros. You can put them away for any cause, right? Read.
And he answered them unto them, have not ye read that which made them at the beginning, that male and female, and said.
So he's saying, have you not read what it says in the beginning? He made a male and female. That's what he made, a male and female. Read.
And said, for them, because shall a man leave father and mother and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh.
You know what's interesting about this? When it says, and said, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, they actually believe that this is talking masculinity and it's talking about just a man only. But this is talking about mankind. It's actually referring to mankind. Shall mankind, that's what it's talking about, leave their father and their mother. So the woman and the man shall leave their mother and father, and they shall cleave unto them, and they shall be one flesh. Now, America teaches this one flesh. It's talking about just what does America say, or when Christians quote this and say one flesh, what are they talking about? You know what they're talking about? Go ahead.
We're talking about Yahweh being one.
You know what they talking about?
Come.
What are they talking about?
Gonna have one wife.
One wife. That's what they believe it's talking about. That's what they believe that it's talking about. But that's not what it's talking about, because that would be a contradiction. We just read in Matthew 25 is that the kingdom of heaven is like a man having 10 virgins, like 10 virgins going to their bridegroom. That would be a contradiction. So what this is talking about, when it says one flesh, that flesh means family. I'm gonna prove it. Hold that. Go to Romans 9. Me Romans 9 and you can give me Romans 9 and 3.
Book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 3.
Come on.
For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren.
For my brethren. right? Brothers means immediate family, like my brother, my immediate brother from the same parents. Go ahead.
My kinsmen.
My kinsmen, like a distant relative, like cousins. So it says my brethren and my kinsmen. Go ahead.
According to the flesh.
According to what?
According to the flesh.
Go ahead.
Who are Israelites.
Who are Israelites? So let's go back to it. So you got the idea. Flesh means family. So when it says, and the two shall be one family, you're building on one family. All right? Go ahead. You got it? Verse 6.
Therefore, they are no more twined, but one flesh.
Go ahead.
What therefore God hath joined it together, let not man be
Let not man be put asunder. So he's saying, don't let man separate. The reason why he's saying that is because the question was, it says, the question was, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for any cause? Should you put her away for anything? Because remember, you can put her away for anything according to the law of the land, according to this foundation that they laid up on us in this book of religious instruction to Negroes. You can put her away for anything. You can put her away for any cause. So the question is, wherefore there is no more twain, meaning two, but one flesh, one family. What therefore the Most High Power has joined together, let no man separate it. Don't let no man separate. So he's answering their question. All right. But then they come back and they say, verse 7.
They say unto him, why did Moses then command to write a divorce and put her away?
So notice what they're doing. After he says it is lawful, you can't put her away, right? Don't let no man separate them. What the Most High has put together, they say, well, oh, really? Well, what about Moses then? Remember, they're tempting him. So they says, what about Moses then? Why did Moses then command them to give him a bill, a written divorce and to put her away? See, they trying to get him, right? Go ahead. What did he say?
Verse 8. He said unto them, Moses, because of his hardness of the heart, suffered you but put away your wife, but from the beginning it was not so. So
notice what it's saying here. It's saying, I'm gonna go back to verse 7. It says, after he said, I'm gonna go back to verse 6. It says, wherefore there is no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore the Most High Power had joined together, let no man put us under. So then they said, well, what about Moses then? Because remember, they're trying to trick him. They're trying to tempt him. What about Moses then commanded to give a written of divorce and to put her away? He said, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffer you to put away your wife. What does that mean? That means that our hearts was hard. Go ahead. You want to take a shot at it?
I would say,
remember, we were coming out of a captivity. So coming out of a captivity, they had the mindset of the captivity. They had the religious instructions of the Egyptians at that time. Go ahead.
So they were basically still following the old ways of the Egyptians, and they were basically
the women it was a lot dealing with the woman. Like today, you got a rib at the crib. She always want to bicker. She always want to fight. She want to be a dragon. She want to yell. She want to scream because she have folded. She have accepted the religious instruction of the Negroes to the Negroes, and she has accepted the religious instructions through marriage. She has accepted that. So because she has accepted that, and now in the wilderness, coming out of Egypt, just like in America, it's all of this. First thing you do, putting her away. So because of the hardness of your heart, suffer you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. You see it? Go ahead.
Verse 9. And I said unto you.
So he's saying, I say unto you. Go ahead.
Whosoever shall put his wife away, except it be for fornication.
So he says, whoever put his wife away, except it be for fornication. What does that mean? What does that mean? Anybody in the chat? What does that mean? Let me tell you something. The reason why I'm targeting on this marriage piece is because the marriage piece is very, very important. It's very important. All right? That is the foundation of our relationship with the Most High. I'm going to show that. I'm going to show that. But right now, the marriages is falling apart. Marriages is falling apart. I said it over and over and over again. So-called blacks and so-called Hispanic women, they lead in divorce. They have more divorce than marriages. They're leading in it. And this has to be fixed. This has to be fixed. All right? So he says unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication. Now, in this country, and in that book, what is fornication in this country? Go ahead.
Male or female, I guess, dating or seeing somebody else if there's not a wife or a husband.
You in the ballpark, but a little bit more. What fornication in this country means, if you didn't go to Esau, if you didn't go to the government or the state to file for paperwork to say that you're married and you have sex with a woman, that's called fornication in this country. All right? That's fornication. Fornication in this country is sex before marriage. Is that possible in the Bible? That you can have sex before marriage? Is that possible?
Sex before marriage. Wow.
You can, why? In the Bible.
Because sex is marriage.
Because sex there you go. Because sex is marriage.
Damn right.
Sex is marriage. So the religious instructions that they gave us what fornication is completely opposite of this book. It's completely opposite of this book, because it says, and I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery. And whosoever marrieth her, which is put away, doeth commit adultery. What does that mean? Let's break it down. I say unto you, so this is what he said, I'm saying to you, whosoever shall put away his wife, what does that mean? Divorce her. Except it be for fornication, meaning, except, let's just say for right now, except for this act. Whatever this act is what? Fornication, right?
Okay.
Now he's going to explain to you what that fornication is. Read.
And shall
marry another
committed adultery.
Commit adultery. So what is this fornication? Adultery. What is adultery?
Sin.
It's sin, but specifically, what is it? It's a law that says thou shalt not commit adultery, right? But then it tells you what adultery is in Leviticus 20 and 10. Let's get it. What is adultery?
Book of Leviticus chapter 20 verse 10.
Go ahead.
And the man that committed adultery with another man's wife.
Read it again.
And a man that committed adultery with another man's wife.
So he says a man that commit adultery with another man's wife. Go ahead.
Even he that committeth adultery and his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteries shall surely be put to death.
Now explain to me this. Why doesn't it say if a man that is married lay with a woman? Because in this country, if a man, quote unquote, is married under the law of the land and he lay with another woman that's not married, is that adultery? Let's say a man sees a woman, he lays with that woman, she's not married. Is that adultery? La'ah. Read that again.
Leviticus chapter 20, verse 10.
Come on.
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress,
go ahead,
shall surely be put to death.
So those both should be put to death. That woman that's married, that man had laid with, that's married, that's adultery. That's adultery. Now go back to Matthew 19 and read verse 9 again and give us understanding. Give us clarity.
Matthew chapter 19, verse 9.
Come on.
And I say unto you, whomsoever shall put his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery. And whomso married her, which is put away,
do it commit adultery.
Do it commit adultery.
So what is that saying?
So if a man puts her away and another man,
let's say he put the woman away because she talked too much. Let's say, you talk too much. I'm sick of you. I'm putting you away. You go down, you file, you say, listen, I'm divorcing you. And then another man comes along and marries her. Is that good? Is he too wild? Huh?
Wow.
Why isn't it not good?
Because that would be adultery.
Why?
Because that's sin. He put to death.
Because he put her away, not for adultery. All right. Now we're gonna prove that. Go to Romans 7. You was already there, right?
No, I just wanted to ask you.
Go ahead. You can add it. Go ahead.
I just want to say, like, what Christ is saying is there is no such thing as putting your wife away for irreconcilable differences. Only thing you put your wife away for is unlawful sexual act.
Period.
Period.
That's it. Now watch this. Romans 7:1. Let's get it.
Book of Romans, chapter 7, verse 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law.
So he said, know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law. All right. Why is it important to know the law? It's because the law, statutes, and commandments, this is what makes us different from other nations. All right. If we allow someone else to come in and give religious instructions to us, it takes us out of that fold. It takes us out of that holiness. All right. It says, know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law. Go ahead.
That the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth.
So the law has dominion over you as long as you're alive. As long as you got breath, you're breathing out of your nostrils and your mouth, you're walking around on this planet, the law has dominion over you. It doesn't say that the law doesn't have dominion over you anymore because you're in the New Testament. All right? These are your religious instructions right here. Read.
Verse 2. For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband, so long as he liveth.
As long as he what?
So long as he liveth.
So why doesn't it say a man is bound to the wife as long as she lives? Why is it not saying that? It says for the woman which had a husband is bound by law to her husband so as long as he is alive. Read. Go ahead. You got something?
to answer your question, because in verse 1 he says, I speak to them that know the law.
Know it.
That's why it doesn't say that.
Go ahead.
But if the husband be dead.
If the husband be what?
But if the husband be dead.
So if that husband died, read.
She is loose from the law of the husband.
Read.
So then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress.
A what?
An adulteress.
Go ahead.
But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man.
So this is the reason why in Matthew 19, verse 9, and it says, and I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, right? And shall marry another, commit adultery. And whosoever marrieth her, which is put away, doeth commit adultery. Because if that man is still alive, and that man is still breathing, you're still bound by law to that man. You're still bound by law to that man. It doesn't matter if you go to Esau. You run down to Esau and you say, Esau, I want to leave him and I want to destroy him and I want to take everything that he's ever worked for and everything that he got. It still don't matter. In the Most High eyes, you're an adulterer if you marry someone else. You're an adulterer. All right? Ephesians 5. Ephesians 5. Yeah, I'm going there. We're going to go to Ephesians 5 and verse, you can start at verse 23. Salakia, start at verse 22. 21, Salakia. See, every time I look at something, it gets better and better. Start at verse 21. Let's get it. So we have to get out of those religious instructions. We have to get away from the religious instructions that was given to Negroes to make a Negro a Christian by his Christian slave master. We got to get away from that. All right? We have to backtrack and withdraw from those religious instructions, and we have to be born again. All right? You have to become a new creature. Give me 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. Hey, still give me Ephesians 5 and 21.
Book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse.
Salakia, hold on. Let me get that 2 Corinthians 5 and 17.
God, book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 17.
This is how you come out of those religious instructions to Negroes. Read.
Therefore, if any man be in Yamashiach, he is a new creature.
He is what?
He is a new creature.
You're a new creature. You're born again. Read.
All things are passed away.
Come on.
Behold, all things are become new.
No, some things.
All things are become new.
No, marriage stay the same.
All things are become new.
No, I made a covenant with Esau.
All things are become new.
All things become new. Everything. Everything is new. Everything. That means that the covenant or the sins or the transgressions of the law that you committed before you came into this truth is passed away. And what? And what?
And all things are become new.
And all things become new. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with allowing all things to become new? What's wrong with allowing the religious instruction of Negroes to be buried? What's wrong with the religious instruction of Negroes to be destroyed? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with that. All right? Go ahead, give me Ephesians 5 and 21.
Book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 21. Submitting yourself to one another in the fear of God.
Do you know what the fear of the Most High Power means? Having fear of the Most High Power means following his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. His laws and statutes and his commandments. Go ahead.
Verse 22. Wives, submit yourself unto your own husband.
Read it again.
Wives, submit yourself unto your own husband.
Now, was these instructions given in the beginning? Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband. I'm here to tell you, yes, they were.
Right.
Yes, they were, and I'm going to give it to you. Hold on. Hold that. Give me Genesis 4, Salakia, 3 and 16.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 16.
So remember, it says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband. Go ahead.
Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
Come on.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
Here we go.
And thy desire.
And thy what?
And thy desire.
That means what you want. Your desires. What you want. Go ahead.
Shall be to thy husband.
Shall be what?
To thy husband.
Go ahead.
And he shall rule over thee.
It's not equal here. It's not equal here. It's not at all. Your desire shall be to thy husband. Whatever he desires. If it's lawful, you got to allow it.
Damn right.
Because your desires is to your husband. And he shall rule over you. We're not equal.
What's it?
Go ahead.
Christian church will not break this down.
Oh, no, sir. Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Right.
But it's very important that you understand that those religious instructions have to be destroyed. We have to start building this thing back up. Under Commander General Yohana, under the ISUPK, we're taught that. All right? We're taught that. As Christ is our head, we're taught these things. We're taught that we have to get back to the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. This is why the scripture says, this is to them that know the law. That know the law. Who knows the law? We do in the School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Your head, they know the law. All right? You got me back at Ephesians? Let's get it.
Book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse.
Read 22 again.
Verse 22. Wives, submit yourself unto your own husbands, as unto the Lord,
No, it's saying some wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband. Let me ask you a question. Leah and Rachel, they both had one husband. Could they both submit themselves to their own husband? Damn right they could. Don't look at submit yourselves to your own husband and say, oh, see, that's just talking about just one. That's just talking about just one. That's just him. If I got 8 wives, they can all submit themselves unto me.
Damn right.
You understand? That's how it goes. Read it again.
Verse 22. Wives, submit yourself unto your own husbands, as unto the Lord.
As unto the Lord. So a marriage relationship is a shadow and an example of your relationship with you and the Most High. Because guess what? Guess who your Lord is? Guess who your head is? Your husband. That's your Christ. That's the Savior of the body. That's what it is. That's what it is. Go ahead, read verse 23.
Verse 23. For the husband is the head.
The husband is what?
The head.
The head. Go ahead.
Of the wife.
Of the who?
Of the wife.
Of the wife. The husband is the head of the wife. Read.
Even as Christ is the head of the church.
Even as Christ is the head of the church. So it's letting you know, just like Christ is the head of the church, your husband is the head of you. You can't be a head of your husband. The church is not a head of Christ. Christ is the head of the husband. Salakia. Christ is the head of the church. Read that again, huh?
Okay. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body.
Like I said before, I'm the Savior of this thing. I'm doing this thing. Follow me. I'm driving the ship. I'm the captain. I'm the Christ. I'm the Lord. I got it. I got this. Mataziala got this.
Damn right.
Azar War got this. The brothers in this school got this. We are under excellent leadership. We are under excellent counseling. We got this. Read.
Thereof, as the church is subject unto Christ.
Therefore, as the church is subject unto the Mashiach, go ahead.
So let the wives.
Let the who?
Wives.
Go ahead.
Be to their own husbands in everything.
In what?
In everything.
No, in some things.
In everything.
In half of things.
In everything.
In everything.
Everything.
You know, let me tell you something. When you go to the law on your husband, you know what you like? You like the Pharisees and the high priests going to Rome to kill the Messiah. That's what you're doing when you do that. When you go to the law on your Lord, you're replaying the crucifixion of the Messiah. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Read verse 24 again.
Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ.
Just like the church is subject to the Messiah. Just like it. Go ahead.
Right. So let the wives be to their own husband in everything.
In everything.
Right.
Go ahead.
Husband, love your wives.
We love you. We're going to love you. It says, husbands, love your wives. Go ahead.
Even as Christ also loved the church.
Come on.
And gave himself for it.
We give ourselves for it. When we get up and we go and we labor and we do the things that we doing out here to build this kingdom, that's what we're doing. We're giving ourselves for the love of brotherhood, for the love of family, for the love of our wives, for the love of our children. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Remember, Yahweh Shah Mashiach did not get instructions from the church. Yahweh Shah Mashiach gave the instructions of the church to the church. This is we have to tear down these religious instructions to Negroes. We have to get rid of this mess because unfortunately, this is the very thing that's destroying us.
Damn right.
This is the thing that's hurting us. This is the thing that's putting us deeper and deeper and deeper. You know, I got a brother. I never seen such a weak man. I never seen such a weak man. You know, his rib runs all over him and tells him what to do. It has completely flipped. And what I've noticed in those religious instructions to Negroes, that's what has happened to us. In a religious instruction to Negroes, we are following the instructions that was given to our slave masters that was passed down to us today. And we just like them children in that video. We let society that we live in dictate what's right, what's wrong, what's good and what's bad, what's beautiful and what's ugly. We allow that. And we have to withdraw from that. We have to. Listen, we got classes right now, every day, 1232 North King Street if you in Wilmington. If you're north, if you're south, we have classes at 202 North DuPont Boulevard. This place should be packed.
Right.
This place should be overwhelmed with people.
Damn right.
But it's not because, unfortunately, we're still holding on to the religious instruction to Negroes.
Damn right.
And the religious instruction to Negroes, we got to let it go. We got to withdraw from that. We got to allow it to be dead. Now, let me go to John 3 in closing. I'm going to go to John 3. John 3. I want you to start at verse 5. This is how we can fix this. Let me show you how we can fix it. How you can allow that to go away. The religious instruction of Negroes, you can let that be gone and you can come into this body. I'm going to show you how. John chapter 3 and verse 5. Let's get it.
Book of John, chapter 3, verse 5. Yahweh shall answer, verily, verily, I say to thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God.
So what is the water first? Let's get that out of the way. Because I know right now somebody is saying, see, you read in the religious instruction in Negroes, they was baptized. See, they were baptized. And it says right here, except you be born of water and of the Spirit, you cannot enter into the kingdom of God. What is this talking about when it's saying born of water? Give me Ephesians 5 and 26.
Book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 26.
Come on.
That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
By the what?
By the word.
By this word is how you are washed. This is the water. This is what you thirst for. It's by the water of the washing by the word of the most high power that cleanses you. Let's go back to John 3. Go ahead.
Book of John, chapter 3, verse.
Read 5 again.
5. Yahweh shall answer, verily, verily, I say to thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God.
So you got to be born again. You got to come in class and you got to be cleansed. You got to be washed. All that filth that you had from the religious instruction in Negroes, you got to get rid of that. You got to get rid of that. You got to be washed by this word. And this is what we give. Nothing but this word in here. Go ahead.
That which is born of the flesh is flesh.
Go ahead.
And which is born of the Spirit is spirit.
Come on.
Marvel not that I say unto thee, ye must be born again.
You must be what?
Born again.
You must be born again. Now read verse 3.
Verse 3.
Go ahead.
There was a man of a...
No. 3 and 3.
And Yahweh shall answer and said unto him, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again.
How are you born again? By coming and being cleansed with this word. All right? Being cleansed with this word. Except a man be born again. Go ahead. He cannot. Let me read it. Verse 3. Jesus answered and said unto them, verily, verily. The word verily, verily means truly, truly. So what he's saying is it's like saying, my word is my bond. You know, when we say that's serious. Or this is my word. This is real. This is real talk. He's getting ready to lay out something real. So when he says verily, verily, he's saying truly, truly. I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot even see the kingdom of God. So that's the issue and the problem. The religious instructions, the Negroes, has caused you to be blind. Has caused you to be blind, and you can't even see the kingdom of God. You can't see this truth. You can't see past the marital laws that's destroying your family. You can't see past the laws that's keeping you separated from your brothers and stopping you from having brotherhood. You can't see it. And this is our number one priority. Our number one priority is to be born again. We have to get away from these religious instructions to Negroes. All right. And I suggest everybody should get this book because it's a heavy book. It's so much information in it that if I would have been going through all the information, we'd be here all night. And I got so much that I had wrote down concerning the book. All right. And concerning different things that they said. I didn't want to read how they looked upon us. You already know they looked upon us as beasts, as animals, as crop, as flock. I'm Salakia, as flocks. All right, that's how they looked at us. But now we at the point right now that we wiser than that. We're in the time of information. We're living in a period of time where it's nothing but information. And you're walking around right now with a library in your pocket. That's your cell phone. You can look these things up. You can research and read and see exactly how they are destroying us. The destruction of the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American people is real. And we have to really be born again at this point. We have to understand our position, understand who we are, understand the destruction that has been placed on us, and understand that this is a nation who has come against us, whose tongue we do not understand. We didn't understand it. So they was able to wipe us blank, erase everything off the paper, and rewrite everything that they wanted on the paper. All right? Go ahead.
Got a precept.
Go ahead.
Book of Psalms.
Psalms.
Chapter 18, chapter 118, verse 9.
Go ahead. You said 118?
Come.
Go ahead.
118, verse 9. Where? Where?
Verse 9?
Verse 9.
It says, it is, you said 119.
118.
118. 118, verse 9. It says, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in the princes.
No. Psalms chapter 118, verse 9.
Psalms 118, verse 9. Is that what you went to? Psalms 118, verse 9, it says, it is better to put the trust in the Lord than to put it confident in the princes. All right. That's Psalms 119. Psalms 119.
119 and 9.
Concept. Go ahead.
Book of Psalms, go ahead, read. Book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 9. Wherewithal shall a young man clean his ways, by taking heed according to thy word.
Thereto. By taking heed thereto, according
to thy word.
According to thy word. According to that word is very vital. The word is what cleanses you. The word is what washes you. The word is what purifies you. And this is what we need to get back to. We need to get back to the religious instruction to the Israelites. And the religious instruction to the Israelites is found in this book, in our Constitution, which is the Bible. All right? Anything else? All right, I'm going to turn the class over to Priest and Officer Mataziala.
ISBK security announcements. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are members for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to learn and show themselves to the world. They need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, they are to seek counsel from the heads. Tithe, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, means 10th in Hebrew, Ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Priest funds, free will offering for the priest. It's not mandatory. It's whatever amount you would like to donate. Upcoming holy convocations, we have the Feast of First Fruits, which is on Sunday, June 12th at sundown. It's a holy convocation. Every brother and every sister is required to attend holy convocations according to the scriptures. All right, so if you're able to attend, if you're not slaving, we'll be at 1232 North King Street,
Wilmington, Delaware. That's 1232 North King Street, Wilmington, Delaware. Service will begin at 7 p.m. promptly. All right. We also have the Midwest. It's not a holy convocation, but it is an announcement. We have the Midwest Fire Weekend, which is coming up in July 21st through the 24th. If you're able to attend that, make preparations now. Prepare properly for your hotel, your stay, and everything, and your transportation, however you plan on getting there. All right. Now, if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. With that being said, with Israel Majah, which means to stand. With Israel Majah Shabbat, Majah, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shabbat, Yahweh Matah, sorry for these turn. Give a courtesy salute to the sisters of Majah. Individual Majah Shabbat, Majah, Barak, Yahweh Shabbat, Al-Tam Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shabbat, Yahweh Matah, class dismissed.